Well, hello everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to our Fast and Fun Projects with Noreen for Wednesday, November 2nd. Welcome everybody. I think I'm all connected up here. Just making sure that, I'm starting to see the little thumbs up and such come in. Welcome, welcome everybody who's hopping on. I'm Noreen Smith, Product Development Creative Manager with Creative Memories, and it's becoming the highlight of my week to be here with you on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Central Time for our Fast and Fun Projects. Hello everybody. Everybody's coming in. I see Amy from Wisconsin. There's Debbie from Grass Valley, Pat in Albany. Hi, I'm so glad that you're here. Thanks for joining in. Washington's here. Steph from Iowa, Sacramento. There's Terry on YouTube. And yeah, welcome to everybody. Some of you, as I mentioned, are watching on the Facebook virtual crop group, Creative Memories virtual crop Facebook group. And some of you are watching on the CM YouTube channel. So no matter where you're watching, you'll want to make sure you go to the opposite place and join or subscribe there so that you can always find us when we're live or when there's a new video on. So if you're in virtual crop group, head over to the YouTube channel, like and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications when new videos are posted. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to head over to the Facebook group, Creative Memories Virtual Crop Facebook group. Request to join, and you're going to get in on tons and tons of good things, not just lives with me on Wednesdays, but virtual crops and all kinds of inspiration and sharing. Hello, everyone. We've got lots of folks joining us today. I want to start by saying it's a cold and yucky day here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Our first big winter storm. My internet seems to have been slow all day. So I want to just kind of preface today's broadcast by saying if something happens and we go offline, don't worry, I will continue recording and then I will make sure that the entire video is uploaded both into the Facebook group and onto YouTube, okay? So if we lose connection, I apologize in advance. Can't do anything about the weather. Fingers crossed, it's all okay. Hello, everyone. Yeah, don't tell me it's 70 degrees in Ohio when we're, 10 degrees, minus 10 degrees Celsius here. So I'm glad you're enjoying beautiful weather. And you know what? It's time for winter here. Like, we've had such a wonderful fall. It's okay that it's getting cold and yucky. But anyways, hello, everyone. We've got some gals joining us from Australia, all across the U.S. And I've seen a couple of fellow Canadians join in as well. Okay, so let's get started. I want to play with some tools today, but first of all, I want to say happy birthday to Creative Memories. It's CM's birthday week this week. 8 years old. New CM has been back for 8 years, and I know that all of us, are thrilled with that. It was a very sad time when CM wasn't around, so we were very glad at the reopening. And we're so happy to celebrate the 8 wonderful years that NUCO has been around for. And to celebrate, there's been some special fun this week. So there was a promo that it launched on Monday. You guys were so excited about it. It sold through in less than 24 hours. But I have never seen anything like the emails going back and forth behind the scenes as product development, marketing, the ops team, the IT team, everybody just hopped on, dropped what they were doing, and tried to figure out a replacement promo. So I know that it's frustrating and it's disheartening when you don't get the promo that you want. But trust me, CM was doing everything they could behind the scenes to get that new promo in your hands. And I just want to tell you really quickly what it is here. So I'm just going to switch over. So with your qualifying purchase, and there's different amounts, of course, in the US, Canada, and Australia, you will get the exclusive Elements Edge BMC and a digital copy of the Border Sketchbook. and that's a free gift. You know, we're supposed to be giving CM gifts on his birthday, but CM is giving us gifts. So that is the new updated promo, and I know you're going to love it. But not only that, there are some new special edition tools that CM has brought out to celebrate their birthday. So we're going to have a look at that, and we're going to use those. And I also want to give you a little tip about the digital sketchbook. So let me switch you over to my desk, and let's talk about this gorgeous color. Isn't that phenomenal? I absolutely love this combination of the navy or darker blue with that beautiful aqua turquoise color. So this is the special edition 12-inch trimmer. Isn't that lovely? And I think for some of us, it's going to be easier to read. Not only is it fun, yeah, somebody's saying, I got that, so excited to get it. I think obviously it's so much fun to have something in a beautiful color scheme like this. But I think for some of us, it is going to be a little bit easier to read. And if you're an advisor, I would really recommend getting these and, you know, using them as your kind of your advisor tools. You'll always know that it's yours if you're demonstrating in front of a class or, you know, showing something. You'll always know where your tools are. They won't blend in with everybody else's. And, you know, if you already have, you know, your trusty 12-inch trimmer in, you know, the regular colorway, and you sort of think, I don't know, you know, this one works fine. I shouldn't really spend the money to get it. Maybe this is going to be your birthday gift, you know, to yourself, and maybe you can even gift or pass along your older trimmers to somebody else who might want it. So anyways, think about that. But we're going to play along, or play around, I should say, with the trimmer and with the original border maker system, again in that fantastic blue color. And we're going to make some birthday borders. Now, the last thing I want to talk about here before we get into it is the frosted cupcake chain BMC. And again, this was sold through really, really quickly. I know it's disheartening, but do know that if you are interested, you can get it when you purchase the limited edition original border maker system. So that does come with it. So if you weren't able to buy it on its own, definitely think about getting the entire system so that you can get the chain, the frosted cupcake chain BMC. And then, you know, you can, again, either have this as your backup, use it as your advisor tools if that's something, you know, if you're an advisor, or maybe again you're going to pass it on to somebody else. Okay, so just be aware that you can still get the frosted cupcake BMC chain BMC. Gosh, it's a mouthful. Frosted cupcake chain BMC cartridge as part of the original border maker system. Okay, now let's talk about the sketchbook itself. So if you had ordered before they ran out, you would have received a printed copy of the 110 scrapbooking border ideas and sketches. And so that'll be a great resource. But if you ordered later and you're going to get the Elements Edge, you're going to get a digital copy. And I just wanted to point out that I love having a digital copy because I can put it actually into my tablet, in this case an iPad, and I can actually just, you know, scroll through it. Go sideways for me there. There we go. I can just scroll through it like a book, and I can take it everywhere I go. So if you have an iPhone or an iPad, when you go to download your copy of the digital scrapbook, definitely open it in iBooks, and then you'll be able to read it just like any other iBook that you've got there. And again, so portable. And I would love it if there is somebody who has found an app that works similar for Android devices, for Samsung and tablets that aren't Apple. If you could leave that in the comment so that we can let people know who aren't on Apple devices how they can add their, if there's a handy app that they can add their, whatchamacallit, their digital copy to. Okay, and then that way again they can just take it with them with their iPad or their iPhone, and it will be there for them. Sorry, I just got distracted. Yeah, so, Creative Memories is just hopping on there to help Lenore with some tech issues. Again, just read through those comments. If you're having, if you can't hear me, if you're having problems, you might want to check your settings on your computer. Okay, it sounds like everybody's doing okay, but if you're having problems, drop a comment in there, and the CM team will hop on and give you some help. Okay, yeah, I think you can put it on a Kindle Fire as long as you can add a PDF to that. I think you can do the same thing to your Kindle Fire as you can to iBooks. But yeah, if there's somebody out there who has done that before or has found a way to add it to their Android devices, we would love to know. Okay, but let's start making some borders. Now, I'm not giving anything away here by sharing this border with you. It is the very first border in the sketchbook, okay? And the first few pages of the sketchbook are actually shared online, so you should be able to see this. But what I really want to do is talk about how you can look at all of the other sketches in this sketchbook and figure out how to adapt them with the tools that you're using. So for example, if you're not using, the frosted border maker cupcakes or the frosted cupcakes chain border maker cartridge, you're using something else, how do you figure out the dimensions and things like that? Okay, so for this one, I'll go through the individual measurements in a second, but there is a really handy sort of little guide here as you open the book. And again, remember that the sketches are meant as inspiration. So you'll see one completed border, and then you'll see a sketch. And some of you will say, well, I don't have a circle border maker. The little circles and the little shapes on the sketches are not meant to represent, a specific tool, a specific embellishment. They're really meant to represent elements. So you'll see, rectangles, long skinny rectangles, rectangles with, scalloped edges, all that kind of thing. And those are really meant to represent the papers that you would use. So if you have a long rectangle or, a fancy shape, that's probably something that you've punched out, or it could be a border sticker or a layered border or a laser border, anything like that. Okay. And then the smaller shapes, things like, a scalloped circle, some leaf shapes, little banners, those are all really just meant to show the idea that this is where an embellishment cluster could go. So even though this one, for example, has the What is Zoo theme pack, you might not have any need to create a border with these cute little seals or maybe they're otters, I'm not sure, but you can adapt it and create that style of border for any use. So that's what's so brilliant about the sketches. And then really the sample that you see is really just to give you an idea of what it could look like. Now, I know that many people say, well, I don't know how to make them because, I don't know what the measurements are. So that's what I'm going to kind of walk you through today. And we're going to do that with this particular border. So the way I like to start is kind of think about one of the elements that I could reproduce. So in this case, the cupcake border, I punched one out and then I sort of looked to see how wide 4 of the cupcakes would be. So again, if you don't have the cupcake border, maybe you're going to punch out another chain style border and see how many, how wide 4 of them would be when you would cut them apart. And then you can base all of your other measurements off of that. So I determined that, the cupcakes, when they are cut into 4 piece sections, were about 2.5 inches wide. So I thought, well, if I add a little bit on either side, that will give me 3. So that's a 3-inch wide border. Now, if I didn't have a need for a 3-inch wide border on my page, I could certainly have trimmed them down to even smaller so that it would maybe fit my page better. So I think you can see where I'm going. You can definitely use some of the elements that you can reproduce to figure out your basic measurements, or you can just take the idea and completely make the sizes and shapes your own. All right. So in this case, yeah, I've punched my border and I've cut it into four sections of 4 cupcakes. So I knew that I wanted to have that. And then when I looked at this sketch, I thought, well, you know what? There's actually 5 sections of paper pieces. So then we did a little bit of scrapbooker math, and basically 12 divided by 5 sections equaled 2.4 inches. So basically between 2 and 6/16 or 2 and 7/16. So I'm not going to get that technical about it. But as I cut my pieces, I knew that I could always trim off some of the overhang to, to make it fit. And then I loved the way that there was a narrow piece and a wide piece. So knowing that that section was 2.5 inches wide, I thought, well, I'll make one section 1 inch wide, and then I'll make the other section 1.5 inches wide. So I get that slightly larger piece on one side. And that's what I did. And I was able to recreate this particular border. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just adhere my border together again. I've gone ahead and cut a bunch of my pieces. So all we're going to do is assemble it now. And I'm going to take some repositionable adhesive, and I'm just going to add a little dab on the back, and I'm just going to line up my 3-inch wide border with the lines on my 13-inch cutting mat. And then that way I can really make sure that all of these pieces are going to be nice and lined up. Okay, so yeah, let me just start getting this adhered here. I'm just going to use regular adhesive to adhere it. And I would love to know what are some of your favorite border maker cartridges, because I'm going to show you a bit of a hack, or a bit of a life, life hack to know about for when you are grabbing some of your border maker cartridges. So because there's 3 different kinds of border maker cartridges. There's the chain style, which the frosted cupcake one is, and I'm actually going to be punching out my borders for this particular border with the circle chain. But then there's also the edge punch. That's a different style. So this is the poinsettia edge punch, and somebody just popped on there that they love the flourish and the poinsettia. And then there's also, what we would call a punch out or a punch through type of border maker cartridge. And the way you can really tell is when you flip them over, and you can see that on the circle chain, there's nothing on either side of the circle. So you know that that's going to punch and completely separate from the paper. So you're going to end up with a strip or a separate chain. With the edge style punches, one of the edges goes right up to the edge of the cartridge. So that tells you that it will not punch anything away from the paper on that edge. So if you punched along with the poinsettia edge punch, you're going to get that really pretty edge at the top, but the rest of the paper will stay intact. So that's an edge style punch. And then with anything that's a punch out or punch through style, you'll see that the punch itself goes right to both sides of the border maker cartridge, and it's just going to punch out those little shapes. So this is the bats and stars there from earlier in October, the Halloween one. So you can see that it's going to punch a row of these bats and stars out, and it will not separate from the paper. So if you're confused at all by, different terminology or different styles of the punches, you can definitely look at the back side to get a sense of what type of border punch it is. And also, picket fence BMC. Yeah, isn't that a great one? That's the one that typically comes with your your Border Maker cartridge system, your original Border Maker system, except in this case, of course, where you're going to get the frosted cupcake chain. So the picket fence is so versatile. And again, you can see that it's an edge style punch. So it's only going to give you that edge at the top. The rest of it will stay attached. Okay? All right. I love those all too. Now I'm just adding these and, I'm just kind of overlapping and making sure that my edges are staying nice and straight. There's really nothing, crazy about this part. The whole thing is really done for us once we figure out our measurements. So maybe if we have time here, we'll look at one other and just see if we can figure out some of the measurements. So I like to start at the bottom and I'm just kind of building up. I'll probably have to trim off a little bit at the top, but that's not a big deal. And they come together so quickly, and I think that they add so much to a page. You can add a border to your page, and you don't really need to add a lot of other decorative aspects to it. So a border is always a good thing. And you can see here, it's probably my error from cutting, but basically I'm just gonna overlap anything that doesn't, measure up perfectly. So it looks like it's all come together really, really well, even though I had a few little areas where I had to overlap or kind of make an adjustment. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and trim off that little bit extra. And then I did see a question here. Can we find the measurements for creating the borders on the blog? That's a really good question. I believe this one, because of the Frosted Cupcake Chain BMC, was created just for this sketchbook. So that's one of the reasons that I thought I would tackle it. But when you are looking through, so for example, if you wanted to make the Serene Waters Friendly Fish Border Punch border, I would definitely go onto the blog and then use the search feature to see if you can find the post. So you'll recognize a few of these in here, and some of them, might be going back quite a ways. I believe that is, Deep Blue Sea. So that's a couple of years ago. So yes, definitely look at the products that were used to create it, and then search on the blog for it. Okay. I better not give too much away. Holy smokes. All right, so that's the border there. Let's go ahead and do the sections now. And as I said, I'm going to use the circle chain BMC because not everybody might have that frosted cupcake. And then this is a great way as well to sort of just, switch it up. And maybe you're going to do this border with completely different papers and a different style of chain BMC. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself here because I know that some of you might not be familiar with the original Border Maker system. So when you buy it, you get the paper guide and the punch holder. So first of all, we need to put our 12-inch long piece of paper. You can probably use about, a 3 to 4 inch piece. You don't have to use a whole sheet if you don't have it. But you lift up the dark blue arm in this case, and that's got a magnetic backing that's going to hold the paper in place. So we slide our paper in and press the magnet closure down. And you see how the paper fits beautifully into that tray, and that makes sure that you've got the perfect position. And then this is the part I know that lots of people say, oh, I always forget to do that. We just fold that paper tray back and out of the way, and it just clicks into place, okay? So now we've got our paper sort of sticking out at exactly the right place. So then we're going to take our Border Maker cartridge, whichever one you're using, and we're going to pop it in with the Creative Memories logo going in. You want those little teeth that are on the cartridge to poke out. And then I don't know if you saw that when it went in, it kind of creates the lever action, and this becomes your punch, okay? So I'll just show you that for some of the punches, you can even just look at the back side, slide your paper in, and then punch. And that's especially helpful if you want the you know, the little dots or the little shapes that come out, but you don't need a full row. So you can almost use it like a separate punch. Okay, so now we have our little teeth, and we have some little notches on the back side of our paper tray. The teeth are going to slide into the notches. So we're going to insert our paper in this slot here, and you're going to feel, once you feel it, it's hard to explain, but once you feel it, you'll see how it won't move on you. So you'll feel it sort of lock into place. So then we just go ahead and punch, and we just slide it up until we feel the teeth lock into place again, and we just keep going. So once you've tried it, once you understand how it feels when those teeth and the notches lock together, you will be a pro at using the Border Maker cartridge. There's nothing to it, I promise. Just get that little bit of debris out of the way. And then we can go ahead and just cut our little sections. So because this is a very regular pattern, I'm just going to cut my sections every 4 circles. Okay, and it might be just slightly bigger than the frosted cupcake chain, but I think it will still work just fine. So you're going to have 2 little pieces left over, not a big deal. And so now you can see that we're just going to add those right over our sections. And if you wanted to, of course, you could either take your scissors and just, you know, trim that up so it's a bit more of a rounded edge, or you can just leave it straight. And you can also just pop them up with some foam squares. So that's always what I like to do. And that's how you get that little shadow look. I don't know if you can see it on the picture here, but it looks like there's, it almost looks like it's navy behind there, but it's actually just the shadow from popping up your Border Maker pieces. So you just go ahead and do that. Place it across. And then we're going to fill 4 of those spots with our Border Maker strip. And then we can take, let me see what I've got here. Let's find a fun little sentiment. So this is the part, I've been using the Party Time papers, and these are the Party Time stickers. So maybe I want a fun sentiment like surprise. So let's get that popped up. And I think I'll actually, do I have my foam tape? I don't have my foam tape handy. I love the foam tape when I'm doing, you know, strips that are a little bit longer, because it's just one piece and it's ready to go. Okay, so there's going to be our little surprise title. And then let's add in a couple of fun things in behind. Now we have some circles here. So some of these circular designs with the little candles would be fun. Some other larger circles there as well. We've got some rainbows. Some hearts are always fun. Or maybe a little, you know, gift bag. There's so many different things that you can add in here. I'm going to go with maybe that one. I'm just going to tuck in behind. Maybe I'll choose a different color. Let's choose the blue. So I'm just going to tuck that in behind there. And then maybe a fun little, I like the cupcakes. We could just add a little cupcake down here at the bottom. So, you know, really 2 or 3 embellishments is all you need to create that fun little birthday sort of sentiment. You don't need a ton. And that's, again, one of the really nice things about borders is that you get so much design variety and visual interest from your papers, from the border strips that you use. It's all really attractive, and you only need a couple of little embellishments to finish it off. So I'm just going to put these on here. I'm just kind of scanning as well. I didn't see any specific questions about the Border Maker. I did see a couple more comments about what your favorite Border Makers are. Somebody mentioned the Music Notes and Flourish. The Music Notes, that was an oldie but a goodie. And I definitely have kept a lot of the different Border Maker cartridges over the years because, you know what, they're so nice and small. They don't take up a ton of room. And I can, you know, really reuse them for so many different kinds of uh, of layouts. So this one is the poinsettia edge, but really I could use that. It's kind of got that little flower sort of, let me see it, there it is. There it goes into focus. I can really use that for a spring layout as well. Anything with flowers, that would be very pretty. So again, just because it's called, you know, poinsettia edge, I'm sure there's going to be lots of other uses for it. Okay, so let's just have a quick look. Let's just take one here at random. Okay, so here's a really fun firecracker and festive fourth border. So what I would do here is, if I didn't have the firecracker punch, I would figure out what kind of embellishments I would want to use. Let me see, I think I do have the firecracker. So let's just punch one really quickly and see what the measurements are. And they have 2 in a row there. There it is. So let's punch out 2 of those. And if I was going to put those onto a border, again, maybe I'll start with 3, but that would be about 2 inches, maybe 2.5 inches wide. So I've got 3 layers here. So I'll make the red layer 2 inches. I'll make the white layer behind it maybe 2.25 inches, and then I'll make the blue layer 3 inches. So once you kind of have something that can give you a bit of context, you should be able to figure out how wide you want your border to be. Okay, so I really encourage you, as you go through and work through some of these scrapbook border ideas and sketches, check the blog first to see if there's any measurements. And then if you can't find measurements for them, decide what punches or embellishments or border maker cartridges or border punches that you're going to use, and then base your embellishments from that. Okay? I think that there are so many fun designs in here. And again, you know, even if you didn't get the printed copy, you're going to want to get that digital copy. And I'll have to scroll back through and see if there's anybody. I'll have to go back through and see if there's anybody else who gave us some tips about how to add the digital copy to your devices. Okay. Someone's, Lisa's saying, I think the offer of the physical book was the reason the promo is so popular. Having a book is faster than searching the blog. Yeah, I agree. But remember that even if you have the digital copy and you can put it into something like this, you're going to be able to scroll through very quickly as well. Scroll through as if you were flipping through the pages. So make sure you take advantage of that new promo. I'm just going to pop this on here again, because look at this border maker cartridge that you get with the new version of the promo. Elements Edge. Isn't that lovely? I can think of so many different things that you'd be able to do with that border maker cartridge. And this is a new, never before seen exclusive that it actually happened to have arrived early, and they were able to switch the promo over to include this. So you'll definitely want to get your hands on that promo. I don't have it yet, so I'm going to have to order it and get that Elements Edge and add it to my collection. Okay. Yeah, so someone's asking about the digital copy. The digital copy will be emailed to you, or you'll get an email with the link to download. So you'll definitely want to watch and make sure that you get that. Okay. All right. Glad to hear it. Somebody saying, yeah, great advice on how to figure out the measurements. And that goes for last year's copy of the 110 scrapbook sketches. So for the, for the entire layout sketches. Start by thinking about something that you want to include. Start by looking at the punches, the photo sizes, that kind of thing. And then you can gauge some of your other pieces that way. I always think about scrapbooker math, right? It's always usually multiples of, or things that are divisible into 12. So 3x4s, 4x6, 2x12, so think in terms of that scrapbooker math. Okay. Looks like ocean waves. Yeah, I agree. I thought that it looked like ocean waves as well. And then somebody else mentioned like frosting on top of a cake, the swirls of frosting. So again, I think you could use it for so many things, and that's the beauty of it. Okay, and somebody's saying we love to go whitewater rafting. It's perfect for us. Yes. And again, you know, when you look at these things, each one of us has a different idea of what it can be used for. And that's the beauty of all of this. So I want to know how many of you are going to be buying a special edition trimmer and the special edition original border maker system. I know that when I open the boxes, they're just beautiful. And I know that you're going to see me use them in future videos because they're just so lovely and so pleasant to use. Okay. Okay, lots and lots of other ideas here. Streamers and waves. Yes, that's a great one. Okay, well, that about wraps it up for me today. Next week, November 9th, we are going to go back to basics. Okay, so we are going to think about how we can use some of our really basic tools, 12-inch trimmer, of course, the new square punch, the new circle punch, and the good old two-way corner rounder to make some interesting details on our layouts. So I'm actually going to be doing some things away from my home, and I'm thinking to myself, if I had to travel or if I had to go to a retreat or an evening crop, what would be the minimum things that I could bring and still have a lot of variety? So that's what I'm going to share with you next week. I hope that you grab those materials and are ready to kind of scrap with me next week. And I hope you take advantage of the promo. I was talking with Sherry Reeland, and she said, the quantities for the special editions tools are still really good. So, but as we've all seen, if you want something, make sure that you grab it so that you're not disappointed. All right. So again, happy birthday, CM. Happy birthday week to everybody. Thanks so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next week, Wednesday, November 9th at 5 p.m. CT Central Time, right here in the Virtual Crop Facebook group and on YouTube. Okay? Bye-bye. See you then.